good evening, welcome. And tonight we got a special show. We have four of the authors or collaborators of a company of poets. Two of them have been on the show Poetry Corner before, and we have two more of the guests that have never been on there, but however they're here. We have Valerie Lorraine. She is um, co-host of the Poetry Corner. We have Drew, Guide to the Galaxy. I like that name.
Thank you.
That's his IG handle. Anybody that's watching, make sure you go to IG and follow him as well. And we also have Steve, who's been here, who's been on the Poetry Corner as well. He has recited some poetry, as well as we have Jan. We can't see her, but we can hear her. She's on the line all the way from India, so we appreciate her being up so early this morning. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Great, great, great. Okay, I'm in the company of poets right here. Um, we'll do our show a little different than usually when I do an interview because I've may have interviewed a guest or two, but now we have four people I have to talk to and hold a conversation at the same time. So Steve, you've been on the Poetry Corner before, and you gave a little brief history about yourself. Tell us about yourself on this show and your introduction to poetry and how you've evolved through poetry.
Yeah, my poetry uh, story, if you like, started when I was young. I used to write poetry when I started writing poetry when I was around 14 to 15, but it stopped at the age of 21. I wrote a poem which I thought at the time was my best poem, and I lost it. And I tried to rewrite it several times, didn't quite manage, and I just stopped writing poetry for a few years. That's about a few years, it's about 30 years actually. In fact, I call myself a born again poet because I started writing again much, much, much later than that. And I started writing again about 3, 4 years, but very sporadically. And then the COVID happened, and I thought, you know what, I've got a lot of time. Let's give this a go. And I started writing again frequently, started my IG handle because I have another IG account, but I started an account purely for my poetry. And I just found a lot of encouragement in the community that there is on IG. And now I'm in the company of poets.
Great, 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 great. Well, Jan,
Yes, Quentin.
can, you could hear us. I like say my name again, Jan.
Quentin?
Oh yeah, you pronounce my name properly. Most people don't pronounce my name properly. They don't pronounce all the syllables. Um,
Oh,
so that's why I said for you to say my name again. Tell us about yourself, Jan. I know you're all the way in India, and truly, I appreciate you being up so early this morning with us. Tell us about who you are, and all the way from India.
good day to you, all of you. I think I should first give a shout out to Val. She's been incredibly supportive in bringing us all together for the show, in compiling all the works of all these 12 poets, who have given their very best to form the company of poets. Thank you, Val. I think, and thank you, everybody, all
It's
over
my
here.
pleasure.
Yeah, Steve, Drew, I don't need to name everybody. They all have been so supportive. All right. So as I clearly says, I'm from India. I belong to very southern tip in Kerala. I think I was talking to Drew about it. I belong to Kerala. It's supposed to be God's own country. I'm not sure how far it's true. And I belong to a middle class family. But of course, my parents, they did have the theater business, and they still do have a theater called The Crown, which was running from the time of the British rule.
Hmm.
And perhaps that's played a major influence in my life because I get to see the top rated films as they come in. I recently saw Avatar, and and that has probably helped my vocabulary, added to the fact that I'm a postgraduate in English literature. which goes to prove that, I could do all the fundas with the words and things like that. All right. So that's it. I think I started writing. My first poem was written when I was in the fourth grade. It was just a small, childish prattle, but my uncle took the trouble of publishing it in the newspaper, the Deccan Herald. I don't have a copy. It's totally forgotten and buried somewhere. And then as life went on and I started work, I worked in the hospitality industry for about 20 years with a leading group of hotels. I worked with the Taj group of hotels as the sales and marketing head. And, while I was working, I don't think I had any time to even think of writing a line, like I was buried with family, with the bogging of work, and so on. But when COVID started, I thought, I could give it a try, and it stirred up again, all my emotions and everything. Somehow I feel, even though I'm a happy person, what I can really express is more about pain, loss. I wonder why it is. Sometimes I'm reminded of Edgar Allan Poe. He writes all very, the macabre and the dark. So I don't know, maybe a bit of a streak, of that is inlaid in me. But I do write happy poetry as well, as Valerie knows. I mean, I've tried all sort of the genre and styles of writing. So I think that's about it. I adore all the poets like Tennyson and Wordsworth, and I like Milton as well. So that's about me.
Okay. Well, we'll be back, and you'll be able to recite some of your poetry shortly. Drew.
Yes, sir.
Who are you, Drew?
I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure that out. I guess first and foremost, I'm a big kid, big dreamer, big heart, which has led me on my journey and this experience of life and all the things that encompass that. Humble beginnings, very humble beginnings. My family moved to America. I was first generation born here, so kind of grew up British in America, which was very interesting, and grew up watching all the British soaps, watching football, soccer, all the above. Used to go back and forth to UK, and then I went into Europe, and then I went into Asia, and then I went into the Middle East, and been traveling pretty much consistently for really consistently probably the last 6-7 years. But yeah, so I get my inspiration from the world really and the experiences of the people I meet in it. And
let me ask you, because I noticed that in your bio that you were at the pyramids.
yes.
And I read in the bio that you were a traveler. How is your view on the world from a
Western point of view?
No, just the point of view, that you've experienced. I know when you talk to other people who don't travel as frequently, they may have a stubborn view, and
Yeah.
you've been able to experience travel in different countries, different cultures. You're a poet, so you're able to have an art and share an art with different cultures. How is
It's
that? How is that experience?
it's really I would say I know it's a cheesy word to use, but magical. It's been really warmed my heart because I think when we all our life experience ebbs and flows, right? So you go through certain things, you go experience trauma, and all these different things that can occur. But it's a sensitive subject because some people have an opinion about the world in certain places, and I respect everyone's opinion. But my point of view was always I had heard growing up in the Western world, yeah, my age group or whatever, we were, there's so much unknown that was told that was forbidden. So I write a lot about what was forbidden and what I was told about. And when I was younger, I was always pushing the boundaries of what was forbidden. So that being said, it led me to Egypt. I've been to Egypt twice in the last. I went to Egypt twice in the last year. Been in India. Um, some of these places that I just absolutely fell in love with the culture, and
Mm,
I'm a big foodie naturally, and I think traveling really, obviously, food coincides. So just meeting people and getting to know them, and I really emphasize the power of communication and learning to communicate with other people. And showing respect and kind of treating everybody like family is really kind of been my guiding light, honestly. And just seeing the world more positively instead of negatively is been super healing for me. You know,
great.
it's not all, it's not all perfect, but I think if you have the intentions to see the world in a positive light, then you're going to see light. If you decide that you want to see it in the negative, then you're only going to see darkness wherever you go. So
Yeah,
that's,
definitely.
yeah.
We apologize tonight for a couple people in the chat. I know you guys have commented that Jan's camera is not on. Jan's camera is on. We don't know why we can't see her. So we truly apologize for that. She's here. You heard her voice, and know that sometimes you can't see the poet, but you can hear the poet, or you can read their words. So we appreciate you guys tuning in and being able to see Jan, but we can't see her tonight. Valerie,
Yes, sir.
um, you this is the first time you've been on Let's Talk because you did a poetry show with the Poetry Corner, and then you did your pop up with Poetry Corner as well.
True.
Valerie, we've worked together for about 6 months now,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Explain to everybody who you are, and they just need to see his face. And she's co-hosting Poetry Corner. Who are you, Valerie?
Gosh. I'm a woman who is here with experiencing the human experience and navigating my way through life. And it hasn't always been an easy life. I've had to make a lot of adjustments in my life to, so this is kind of my writing and doing poetry and the books. This is my second coming. So I had a corporate career for years, and then I got sick, and in one day that was just gone. So it's really wonderful that I'm taking some of my corporate experience and a lot of my creativity that has always been part of my life, and I'm finding a way to merge the two so that I can feel the joy of both of those things that I love so much.
Well, Valerie, because I would say you're the chef. You orchestrated all this, from what I understand. Explain the genesis of this company of poets and why these 12. We have four. We only
Okay.
have four of you
Yeah.
guys, but it's 12.
There's 12
Um,
poets. There's so many people in this community who I have huge respect and admiration for. Their work is incredible. I literally get up every day. The very first thing that I do after I trot out of the bathroom is go and get coffee. And then the next thing I do is sit down with my phone and, get to the point where I'm reading poetry. And I'm just like, I'm enamored with so many poets. And, I just got to the point where I put out 2 of my books. Well, the second one I was working through that. And I was like, you know what? I just have so much respect for a lot of poets. And I think I'm shocked that they're not published. And, I thought, like, let's do something fun. Like, I wanted the experience of putting a book together with a bunch of people. I had this feeling that there would be a real incredible social dynamic to putting it together, and I wasn't wrong. This group really clicked, and the chat has been incredible. And it was a fun process, and it was also, I'm constantly learning. I think that's what life's about. So I took what I knew, and then I spent the rest of the time, merging and learning. I need you to be sorry, I was trying to hit my mic there and I didn't quite make it. So, you know, it was a lot of fun. And I sat down and I literally made my top 10 list. And I thought, okay, well, here's my top 10 list. I'm going to go and ask these people. And then I'll come back. You know, I kind of had, you know, I mean, it's hard to say that anybody surpassed anybody. It was just like, these are the people that I think I would like to start this journey with. And, you know, I had jotted a few extra names. I drew a line and I went, this is where I'm going with this. And so I just reached out and I was absolutely blown away because nobody said no. Everybody was like, yes, I would love to do that. And so I was like, whoa, here we go. And so we had fun.
One of the unique things, Valerie, is I had an opportunity where I interviewed a lot of authors, and one of the authors, her mentor, where she first did her book, was, I want you to basically recruit other authors. And I know from you doing the Poetry Corner and then you doing your show every Saturday night that I try to check in, but it's so late on my end. Explain the dynamic, because I think it's magic in the sort of say, but explain the dynamic of being able to, like you said, yeah, these were a top 10 or the lucky 12, or, you know, feel like it's an episode out of Ocean's 11 or something. Explain that
Right.
dynamic of being able to say, I'm going to get Drew. Drew's dynamic. I'm going to mix him with Jan. She's dynamic. But their poetry
is different.
But they might not be. Now, they're lucky enough to coincide. Explain how your vision was, I can get these 12 to coincide.
Yeah, and it is, Drew's right. It's a great question because so part of my corporate training, I was a high level trainer for, you know, a lot of years. And so I trained like team dynamics. I trained all of that stuff. And I trained people to be trainers. So, like, you know, there's really high level training. And I think that some of that has become second nature to me. So when I sit back and I you know, I mean, I'm well versed. I really, there's certain poets that I really sink into and I pay attention. You know, so my deal was like, I knew that they were consistent. I knew that they had good personalities. I knew that they were, I'll use the term easygoing, you know, like I knew that they weren't the people who are gonna, you know, I've never seen them on a live. For those who do lives, I've never seen them on a live get rattled or frustrated, and you know, and I just respected their work, and I thought, okay, you know what, I think this group would mix well. I think they're culturally diverse. I think they respect other cultures. I know their poetry speaks about those things and respecting other people and concerns about racism and like all in different topics and health and how people are treated. So, you know, there was a certain level for me to say, like, I think these guys would gel well. And you never know.
Yeah.
Like really, you never know. But I'd had enough conversations with them. Yeah.
Since you've been and then I'm going to ask you one question, and then okay. I'm gonna throw a wrench in the game.
Okay.
As we would say, right?
Yeah.
Has the 13th poet got in touch with you and said, Dag, Val, I wanted to be part of the book. I wanted to really be part of it. Yeah. Did you feel like, oh, I left somebody out? Like, or like, you know how sometimes a person leaves social media for a while and you'd be like, oh, I forgot about you. You're somebody that I probably would have considered. Right. Did you feel?
Well, I'll just say that, I'll say it like this. So, I mean, I did have to draw a line. I didn't want to have too many poets because it was my first time out of the gate. And so I didn't want to manage too many people at once and put too much on myself. The other thing was that I wanted to give each of the poets in the book a substantial amount of space to write. Some anthologies, you know, they say like, would you like to offer a poem or, you know, 2 pieces? And I didn't want that. I wanted these poets to showcase themselves heartily. So yes, I did have people say to me like, oh, I'm jealous, or, you know, I would have loved to be part of that, and, you know, those comments. But I will say this much. There are so many more poets out there, so much more incredible talent, and I love this process. It probably won't be my last go at it. Won't be my last kick at the can.
Well, one thing, Val, because you are a co-host with one of the shows that I have an opportunity to produce, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna switch the show up and do it like we're doing the poetry corner, and sort of say, you know everybody's poem that was put together in this anthology. So everybody got 20 poems.
They got 10 pages, and it was funny because people were like, well, how many words would I have? I'm like, look, I'm not going to stifle you. I'm offering you 10 pages. If your poetry takes more than 10 pages, just submit it. Like, you know, I'm not going to say like, no, shorten it or don't pick that piece. Like, that's not what this is about. This is, you know, it's a guideline. So you know, they submitted what, and then when it came down to it, I was like, I did offer, there was, I think, 2 or 3 poets that I said, could you give me another piece? And that was like at the midnight hour. I was like, if you could give me another piece in 24 hours, then I can fit that in. But
So
yeah.
so Valerie, what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna do 3 rounds.
Okay.
After each round, I'll ask a question.
Okay.
All right, and then
Hmm.
we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely, you guys can hear Jan. She's here. Jan, you still here?
I'm still here,
Yeah,
Quentin. It's a pity that my face is
yeah.
not seen. I'm getting a
Jan,
lot of messages.
Jan, you have so many people in the chat that are watching, that we're here to see you, but they can hear your beautiful voice, and they want you to know that they're supporting you and they're tuning in. You guys, I appreciate you guys wherever you're tuning in from. I appreciate you, definitely, you guys that are in India that are up this early morning. Um,
Thank you so much.
and the way that Valerie will explain to you how we do the show and what's going to happen. Go ahead, Val.
All right. Well, welcome to Let's Talk. We are here. If you are watching, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so that you can get apprised of other shows that come up. We are here to celebrate the release of In the Company of Poets. We have 4 of the authors here today, and we're going to celebrate their contributions to the poetry. So I'm going to hand off to Drew. I'm going to just give a little introduction. Drew wowed me with his pieces that he was putting out. He was putting out some short micro pieces, and his posts or his reels were really intriguing, and they were all centered around travel. They were centered around, you know, I have to. Drew, correct me, there's probably a better way to say it, but, you know, ways that we would hope that people would conduct themselves. But, you know, some real great inspirational posters. And I was intrigued by that. And so when I reached out to Drew, I said, hey, do you write any longer poetry too?
That was crazy.
So welcome, Drew. And I'm going to give you the stage. Let us
Thank
know
you.
what you have going on other than just, you know, your handle at Instagram.
A lot of where do I start? Just a lot of be back in the UK in April visiting family. But I just got back from India. I was in India last month. Got back last month. Yeah. So right around there. And I was finishing up some pieces from the trip because I like to go somewhere and just kind of get a vibe to what's going on and the energy around it, and then just kind of let loose a little bit, write a couple lines here and there, and then just build something. So Um, outside of that, I'm deeply spiritual and kind of exploring a lot of different things. A lot of the sites I go to are ancient temples, that kind of thing is really my, those are my, the ancient world is my best friend. It's the best way to say. So that's what I really strive to try and see as much of it as I can while I'm here. And sacrifices that you have to make to do it, as I mean, for me, it's like when I can see something that I've dreamed about seeing my whole life, it's really impactful for me, and it really helps me along the hard times of my life when you can look back on an event or an experience that you have and you're like, shit, I'm here. All right. I can go a little bit further. I can step a little bit more, I can have a little bit more confidence, because I know everybody struggles with anxiety and all these. I wrote something a long time ago where it's like we diagnose emotion as disorder. And when I really thought about that was like, I really believe in the power of your mind and self-healing, and that's kind of been something I've been exploring a lot of and just always going towards it. So but I will read a piece from the poets. I'm sorry, in the company of poets. I am going to read a piece I have not read before from it. It's called Your Zone Now Boarding. On standby for the next nightmare. When it hits me, I'm not even surprised, like the wind leaving me before it arrives. And yet I stand right in its way. The jealous act of missing out when all you want to do is fit in. My own private game, the prank caller to myself, and yet I still answer. The book you've read a million times, but still cry at the last line. It's all you know. Those familiar feelings, that happy routine of falling apart, just to pretend to put it all back together again. The quarterback to my interception, landing in this obsession, the chokehold of depression. I am the excuse. I am the escape. Even if I could mend all the pieces of me that were broken, I'd make sure the last one can never fit. Am I in too deep, or should I learn to hold my breath? If I forgive the world that I tortured, maybe then I'll unshackle this heart that's the only thing left inside of me. End. Thank you. Thank you.
That was me.
Absolutely fantastic. And now you can see the way that Drew winds his pieces around. They're very thought-provoking. And I believe that that type of poetry is extremely healing for those who are looking for some light. And Drew, Drew brings it.
Just sometimes I'll throw in some traditional style poetry, and other times it's more putting a story together really and just wanting to share that experience and hope to help heal somebody that's still in the dark, I guess, because I know we all struggle at times, and just want to put that energy out that, no matter what you're going through, you can find a way out. So that's why I'm here. That's why when Valerie asked me to be a part of the book, it was a big step for me to number one, be asked. That was a huge honor, and to be able to put work in that was really personal for me was also a big step, because I know we all, you're scared of putting yourself out there, but if you sit back, I would have just wondered I'd be having to watch this and be like, shit, I wish I would have taken that leap, right? I know that's a thing writers all do. You second guess your work the second you put it out. It's like immediately you're like, oh, it's out there. So I think as a first time published writer, poet, it's just super exciting. And like I said, being able to see it in a tangible form, and in the regards to the book, with the experience, you're experiencing each individual person's work. It's not just one person. It's not just me. It's not Val. It's not just Val. It's not just Steve. It's not Jen. It's like each section of this book, when you visit it, when you follow Steve, Thoughts by Steve, and his voice, when I read his work, I hear it in his voice. So there's something about the idea behind the anthology of bringing the poets together and also having the IG stuff where you can follow, you can really understand the writer, right? I can't understand Edgar Allan Poe because he didn't have that available. So I don't know what his voice sounds like, but I know what Thoughts by Steve sounds like. I know what Violet Moon Poetry sounds like. You know, I know Jan now and Valerie. So it's an experiential book. If that's even a word. That's where I'm at. But that's just a rough idea.
And Drew, it's like
Yeah.
you're literally you're entwined with 11 other poets
Yeah.
forever.
And it's, we were doing a live the other night, and Alexa, who's in it as well, was reading some of her stuff, and it's so visual storytelling and these beautifully crafted poems where it's so different from what I write, where I'm like, anybody can listen to this and you can literally see what she's saying and the power of the writers in the book. Same with Steve's work and Valerie's and Jan's. It's really cool because I know we all just brought just such different energy to the pieces that we put in. So it's a total journey through the book. You'll get some. Yeah.
So there's something for everyone in it because there's such variety.
Yeah. It's an adventure. Really, it's so interesting. You read a lot of poetry. Obviously, if you're a writer yourself, you come across a lot of pieces. So it's also very motivating when I read a piece that that's not the style that I write in, maybe, but now I'm like, oh, that's so different. So it has that appeal of, I want to try something new, maybe. Or if you pick up the book, you might read somebody's work and be like, that's different. I want to see what that mindset is when they write, and maybe, it kind of brings out more creativity as an artist, I think. So it's a really interesting anthology. I stand by it. I mean, that.
Love that. I love that. Quentin, where are we going?
Jan,
Yes,
Okay.
Quentin, I'm here.
would you like to recite one of your poems, please?
Please.
All right, why not? Something from the book, right?
Whatever you want.
I'm a nature lover, so I guess I'll go one which was written on nature.
Take me, Jan. Take me on the journey. Take me on the journey.
Cello. Let's go.
Hello to you. I know Drew. Drew has really got onto his Hindi. I'm looking forward to meeting you, Drew, when you come over to India next, or when I come over to UK.
Hey, Dhanyavad Miridos. Yes, 100%.
All right, thank you. So, in terms of nature, I always feel quite a lot of pain, when there's so much of abuse happening around. It's such a beautiful thing. It's a varied kind of diverse fauna, flora, emotions floating around. Today, it's just not there, right? I mean, people have, for high-rise buildings and for the purpose of pleasure, they have totally massacred nature. So I felt I should write a few lines with regard to that. So here you go. I have titled it Sui Generis, which means unique. She is unique. Name her sui generis, call her frantic fire or ice. She is a swirling tarantula, transformed flamenco in flight. Her lamenting of death rattles the final knell of rumbling drums, shuddering the frondescence, now subservient to human tongue. You noxious human living vermin, infested Gaia with your acute sin, had her foliage ripped as tattered hems, in swirling frenzied skeletal hymns. Begged she to winds to carry her atop, to the diminishing, fading canopy, and thus drip whispers of teary cries, encoded messages to fallen eyes. Now a boom, louder and angered, until the heavens could bear no more. Respond they to the last finale of this betrayed femme fatale in replies of cyclonic thunder that ripped acidic moldic skies. Cracks of whip lightning split open the putrefied earth to devour the ones who stooped and sizzle and scorch her mirth. For they knew not to respect nor listen to the song of harmony. Though she moaned incessant, if each final ceasing breath caused her nobility to transcend human follies with her soul frozen in divine, timeless, painful frame. And now, while the old earth dies and a new one struggles to be born, on a threshold she dauntless stands, she the flame as well as the wind, knowing not how to let go the other, hoping mankind sees their mother, fed hemlock from their goblets of fame. Thank you.
Stunning.
Wow.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. I mean, when Jan agreed to be in the book, I literally jumped up and down.
Thank
She
you,
just,
Val.
such a beautiful poetess. And, she just writes. Like, she puts out poem after poem after poem, and they are exceptional, all of them. And now, Jan hasn't done lives before. I'm so sorry that for some reason your camera is not working for us tonight, because we'd love to see your beautiful face. But now we have the voice, and what a gorgeous reader she is.
Thank
Beautiful.
you, Val. I'm really sorry you can't put a face to that voice.
I
Next
know what
time.
you look like, Jan. I know what you look like.
Uh,
Jen, sometimes for me, I'm an avid reader, and reading, I kind of picture myself literally in each scene. So listening to you and not being able to see you may help me visualize what you're saying more. Um,
Okay. I
and
think you
and
see
and
a large
and
tree with a lot
and,
of roots, right?
and,
Buried in the ground.
and I live in an area where you better appreciate nature, because the sites are a lot of mountains, a lot of cold, a lot of valleys, a lot of water. Not a lot of waterfalls, but it's enough where you appreciate nature. A lot of hiking is where I live in an area where it's a lot of hiking.
I
So
love that.
I definitely appreciate nature and have an appreciation of stop building all these buildings and disrupting the earth.
Hmm.
So Jen, let me
Amen.
ask you, when did you realize you loved poetry?
As I told you, I did love it ever since I was a child, Quentin. But I just could not wield the pen due to lack of time. But I used to note down phrases. I am also an avid reader like you. Though I started out in Nancy Drew and Enid Blyton and things like that, I graduated to Harold Robbins, Jeffrey Archer, Ken Follett, and the likes. And each of their work is stunning. And as in the process, like whenever I see a catchy phrase, a new word, I had the habit of jotting down that, so
You
that
know,
it stays in my
Jen,
mind.
you're telling our age when you say Nancy Drew.
I'm young at heart, Quentin.
I mean,
But
I don't think these new readers know who she was. Like,
yeah,
man, Nancy Drew.
yeah,
Oh,
Nancy.
you took me back to those were like the first books that I started reading. I like spy novels, stuff
Mm-hmm,
like that, and even movies now. Which is funny, Jen. Just to give you a little brief history about me, I
mm-hmm,
prefer I prefer movies
mm-hmm.
that are not based on true people, because
Oh,
I'm
really?
a history guy. So
Hmm.
if you're gonna do something on history, I don't want you to tell the half truth. I want you to tell
Mhm.
the whole truth. So I would rather just fiction, because I don't I get upset when I read something or I watch a movie about a real life character and you find out that the story wasn't the story.
Yeah.
So I definitely have an appreciation for the Nancy Drew, those mystery type of books and spy
Mm.
novels. You and Drew are UK. You traveled to UK a lot, so you guys know I'm a big 007 fan, like
Oh,
huge.
yeah, me
Steve,
too.
Steve has
I
got that
Connery.
childhood.
Huge, huge. I can't wait for the new one to come. I'm really bad with it. With all those with all those movies,
That
even
br-
the work that Judy Dench did prior. That she's such big. She's not as big in the United States as she is in the UK, but she's huge. I remember it was a show I used to watch with her and her husband. They were really good. I can't remember the name offhand. I used to catch them late night when I wasn't supposed to watch TV.
I can relate to that a lot.
Yeah, true. True,
So,
true.
Steve, you're up.
Hey, yeah, I just want to say, first of all, if I'm sounding a bit gruff, it's what, 5 o'clock in the morning here. So I couldn't quite decide. And I said that in our chat, if it was going to be either a very late night or a really early start for me, because, 4:30 in the morning, it's like none of them and both of them. So I was caught in between. But yeah, so if I'm sounding a bit gruff, I have a reason for it. Yeah. Um, yeah. I just want to say that it's been, it's been a great experience, in the company Poet House, because we you've just heard two very, very different poems, and both of them have something to say. And like I said earlier, you know, there's going to be something for everyone in this book, and I'm pretty sure of that. You know, and in fact, I was going to read a poem, one, but I'll probably read it later. I do something different now because both of these poems haven't rhymed, and I don't write and rhyme a lot. But sometimes I do. So the poem I'm going to read is actually a whimsical poem. It is fiction without a doubt, and it is in rhyme. Something which, like I said, I don't do a lot. I try to, I just start writing. I haven't studied poetry. I am an avid reader, but especially when I was younger, I used to be an avid reader, but I never read poetry. So I sort of wrote poetry but didn't read it. So I can't say I've ever had any influence. Maybe that's why I'm happy to try out so many different styles. So this poem is The Dragon Slayers.
Hmm.
Away you now, I tread you light, for the fire burns in the dragon tonight. Her breast is warm, her eyes do shine, her anger grows for the thieving swine, though her young, yet still unborn, in eggs so fine with gold adorned, the breed of man, no heart to hold, and where it sets, the land is cold. But not for long, for she is might, her love so strong that burns so bright, to take the wing, search high and low, her fire breath of orange glow, like tongues of fate, will speak and burn the men who have no loving yearn, except for gold and heartless gems, will be indeed the end of them. As for you, I pray you ask, do riches rule your daily task? If they do, seek refuge now. The she dragon flies with solemn vow, rid the earth of men of greed, hate for want and not for need. One whole eve and one whole night, she'll find the vermin torch them bright, and only then will the mother rest, and again forlornness, weep and cry for all she lost. A flaming breath turned to frost. Fire spent, the heart will numb slowly through the pain to come. So when they speak of men so brave who sent the dragon to her grave, look beyond tales of men with evil will the world condemn. Speak the truth and be the just, and never ever for riches lust.
Each poem, like you guys said, tells a different story. And one of the things that I've been privy to is that I am not a poet, but I'm here every week, and I get an opportunity to meet different poets and hear a lot of work. And I'm never one to say that a poet has a unique responsibility as an artist, just like a painter, or just like a cook, just like a chef, or just like a singer. Is that one of the poets in California that I'm friends with? She loves to say that the poet gives voice to the voiceless, and it's a very interesting thing to be able to not only tell your story but tell someone's story who can't articulate as well as you guys. So really, I appreciate you guys joining the show tonight, and it is definitely an honor. Um, right, Val?
Oh my goodness. Yes, it is a complete honor. It was an honor for me to have these poets join the collaboration, the anthology. And I just want to say about Steve, I have the utmost respect for Steve and his writing. He's a very smart man. He's a very witty man, and he also is an incredible storyteller. And it comes through in all his work. And he sometimes just entertains you, but sometimes in that entertainment there is quite a deep message. And so again, I mean, I would say this about every single person who agreed to join the anthology, but you know, Steve was somebody who I was just so already enthralled with his work and followed him quite intently. And we had already conversed a lot and spent, time sharing poetry on different lives. So I was very, very well aware of him and him aware of me. And and he knows that there's a couple of his pieces that if I haven't heard them for a while, when he comes up, I'm like, is it okay if I request these pieces from you? Because they are ultra fantastic. So I just have a lot of respect for him, and it was a really big deal when he agreed, and so quickly. So I have a lot of
Val,
love for this group. I have a
let
lot of
me
love
let
for
me
this
let
group.
me ask you, Val, a question,
Yeah.
and you can answer before the other three poets. Because I don't think I ever asked you this. What is the one? Who is the one poet that just does it for you? That is just like your go-to when you need that extra motivation, and their words just speak to your soul. Like it's like they're talking to Valerie. Who is that one poet?
Well, you know what? There is no one poet because, of course, as you could well imagine, in life, we don't have we don't suffer one emotion. We have so many different, and I, as being a woman, would probably by some people be, I'm very artistic, so I go through a lot of emotions. So. Robert Frost struck me with Nature's Green First Green is Gold. I remember being a young child, and that poem just spoke to me on a soul level. But from there on, I'm not even going to talk about the classic authors because, um, there's Jan who entertains me so graciously with her words. There's Drew who inspires me. There's Steve who entertains me and motivates me with his messages and his storytelling. Just it draws me in. Cleopatra Fernhill, who is another author in this book, her love poetry enthralls me. I'm a love poetess, and she can bend a poem. And then there's Ragged, who people in the poetry community may know. I have the utmost respect for his poetry. Something funny on TV. Ragged is his poetry is so well worded. To me, he sounds like he should be in the classics, being taught in schools. Like, it would be no surprise to me. And he regularly pumps those out. I could go on and on and on. There's J. Mac O'Connell, who comes off with pieces and reminds me of Thoughts by Steve, who speaks about certain cultural and social differences that we should be focusing on. But he also writes love poetry. He also raps. He does all kinds of things. And if there's deep thought lyricist, wows me. There's so many. Like, I mean, that's the problem. And it's also the solution. When I'm in a mood and I want to read something, I know where I can go to satisfy my soul for those types of, emotions or needs. The problem becomes is that how much time do you have in a day to spend? Because like I'll go to Jan's page and I'll sit and read her poetry, and I can't leave it at just one or two. So these poets are magnetic and they're prolific, and and I'm not the only person to say it either. I will say that there's a lot of them that you just sit back and you're like, wow, like, how come nobody's found these people? Like, how come we've all found them on social media, but how come nobody's found them and just picked them up and made sure that they're like, up there where we think about these people like Poe and Shakespeare and,
Do you Val? Do you find yourself like when you first meet a poet and like you said, you like, wow, this person's got star written all over them, and they could do so much with their poetry. It could like really take them, but they don't really take it serious, or they're not putting forth the effort that the talent that they got, and you see it.
Yeah.
Did you ever
I've
say to
seen
yourself
that.
like, I can't deal with this person because they got so much
They're not
talent?
consistent, and they're, like that they fall into that, real artist guys that people think of when you say artist, right? Like they're doing their own thing, and they would maybe like to do something, and maybe they don't even, they have consistency issues. And I'm not talking about the poetry. I'm talking about, they're just like, oh yeah, I just do this and that's that. I know Steve runs in some of the same communities that I do, so he's found them too, right? And then you have poets who are like,
why aren't they writing more stuff?
Sorry?
There's some poets out there, you think, why aren't they writing more, why aren't they? Because they have something special. But then, I'm a basketball coach. You have lots of players with talent, but only then a few of them really apply themselves. So it's not just about talent, you've got to work. You have to, if you want to write, I think you've got to try and dedicate time. And you won't write every time you try to write, but it's important to give it a chance. And I think, that's when you get to the stage where you write more frequently, and maybe it may not even finish if you've got something there which you can let go, and something else might flower after it, sort of thing. You put something on paper, type, do that, or keep it, but I think you need to take that moment every day. I think try and put something. That's the only way you can do it. Do it and and it's like that in any form of art. But these same thing in sports, and you've got to really try to continuously apply it if you want to get better.
100 agreed. And you know, the other thing too is I've talked to a lot of poets who say that they're trying to put a book together. And so the easiest part of putting a book together is the manuscript. And I think a lot of people don't get past that part because there is just so damn much more to putting out a book than just saying like, here's my manuscript, see you later. And those are the parts that are hard, especially if you're self-publishing. Those are the parts that are hard because we're writers, we write poetry. So it's easy to get that part together. It's the rest of it that is the actual work because it's not writing poetry. So even if you know what you're doing, it's like, oh, it's not writing poetry. So you have to temper yourself and keep, like Steve said, like you have to put at it every single day. And so I understand why there's a lot of people who say, well, I've been saying for a long time I'm going to put my book out, but I haven't done it. I get it. Yeah.
You can give us another round.
Sorry, I was coughing. What did you say?
You can give us some more poetry.
All right. Well, I'll share a piece with you, and then, you know, I'm going to give it up to everybody else because I'm used to being online, and I'm used to spending a lot of time talking and reciting my poetry. But these guys here, I really want them to share. So
Here's a message. Here's a message for you guys. Look, Val.
Aw, Lizard. Man, I'm so happy you're here. That guy's amazing. Another writer who his wordplay is sensational, and you get stuck on, you're like, holy crap, what did I just hear? And he's still going. You have to shake that off. You gotta be like, shake off the cuff. Oh, I'm with you because like he's got it going on. Okay, Quentin, I'm gonna give you a choice. There's the Heart Clock or the Sunset Father. Careful.
Let's try the Sunset Father.
All right. Good choice. This is an interesting piece. Sunset Father. Oh goodness, 1 second.
That's cheers to you.
Apologies.
Val, you don't have to mute your mic. We understand. We get it.
You guys don't need to hear that, but that's okay. Thank you. I did though.
I'm still cheering you as well, Val.
He's 3. He doesn't get it. So here we go. Sunset Father. Father, I still see you in there, even though your light is dimming. You were the sunrise, angry, scarlet, scowling skies, red skies in the morning. Little girl, take warning. Sunsets of dementia, rich summer hues fading to dusk. But yes, I still see you from time to time. Because even in the winter, the morning sun still peeks through the dark, hazy cloud cover. What you did, who you are. It's like crystal blue skies on water, reflections of you. But you tossed that boulder into the waters to erase that image so you didn't have to see yourself. Those ripples, they were waves that pulled me under, pulling me down, rip tides tugging at my toes, undertow, always threatening to grab hold and hold me for the final time. I tread water as best as I could. When ears touched in, it was a warning to legs. Move faster. Fighting to make it to shore. Any shore. Safe or unsafe. Never safe shores. Always burning sands as I tried to rest and breathe, or jagged rocks and sharp oyster shells cutting my feet, my skin, my heart. How many years did I have to fight against the currents to finally find the red skies at night? A sailor's delight. Dropping anchor in some bay at a calm tropical destination. It's coming now. As you fade into that horizon with shades of Charisse and Admiral below the ocean's edge. truly fading with dusk becoming dark. Eventually, the moon will proclaim midnight, allowing me to swim in calmer waters, not simply be pulled back, not simply break the surface as my lungs feel the crush, my brain screaming for air, rushing with thoughts of living, of who I am, of where the life vest is, of where the damn captain is, and why he is trying to make me save my own fucking self. I can see shore. It looks beautiful from here. But fuck my life, I don't trust it. I hesitate, just long enough to know that looking back doesn't get me closer to that island. It's been such a long journey, such a long time in the water, such a long time fighting to stay mentally agile and aware, where some men, like sharks, don't always look like predators. Circling you, they act like saviors, eventually taking that intentional bite and leaving you for dead. Leaving you to try to swim, body damaged when you were already struggling with a perfectly intact, healthy body. It was just the fuckery with your mind that kept you lost at sea. I touch shore. Doesn't look so bad here. I pick up a small piece of driftwood and start writing in the sand. I have a lot to say while the tide is still out. Valerie Lorraine.
Ooh,
Sunset Father there.
That was so cool. Sorry, like that was wild. That was wild. Yeah.
Thank you so
And
much.
I
I think
think,
Val, various
because, you know,
words, so much of strength to your piece, Val. You know, the repetitions were driving it, you know. I was like dumbfounded. Ooh.
Well, guess
I
what,
just
Jan?
like to say,
Jan,
Yes, Quentin.
you're up.
Yes. I do have a request. I am dying to hear Jan read Dandelion if she doesn't mind.
Which one?
Gorgeous. Dandelion.
Go to the dandelion.
Ode to a Dandelion.
Oh,
Stunning.
that one is great. Okay. I thought I wanted to read something very, you know, a bit of a romance. Everybody thinks I'm a little dark person, so sure, I'll do that. Give me a second. I'm just going on to the page. Mm. Which was that? No. Yeah. This is an ode to a dandelion. I love this flower, you know. It's such a simple, unassuming, just planted everywhere or growing wild. And yet, it turns me on every time I see her. She's a wild, yellow, ubiquitous bloom, a cheerful face with multiple plumes, welcoming glow like the golden sun, dancing merrily, caring for none. She's the first to greet us in spring, nudging others to quickly peep. Earlier they bloom, more the time, for the rosettes to make merry until they die. Had ignored her as she grew in the wild, sea of puffed clocks in unmeasured time, awaiting an audience from boscage around, grace their presence where they abound. Later, as I wandered past the virgin woods, I was awed by chaotic tufts of parachutes, perfect choreography in unison of whirls, fluid balletic, pirouetting dancers in swirls. Specks of gold lay in the carpets of green, a scene plucked from a childhood dream. Shimmering fairy wands blew magic in the air. What had I failed to praise a beauty so rare? A drifting Sipsela, settled on my lashes, teasing me to hold on and in fondness caress. And as I held her, she blew kisses at me, floating over perhaps a next time to meet. Judgmental me, assuming she a weed. For now she flaunts a flower I need to heed. So now I carry her in the cockle of my art, narrate the ballad of one who stole my heart.
Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And the read? Oh, thank you so much. I love that piece.
You have
Amazing voice.
an
Thank you.
amazing voice, and you should actually think about recording your voice
Yeah.
with your poems. And,
Voiceover work.
yeah, because you,
100%, Jen.
yeah, voiceover work is
Sundarha.
yeah, voiceover work is very
Beautiful.
very strong. A lot of people don't know you can really make a lot of good money doing it, and nobody would never know who you are.
So
Al has been inviting me onto the live shows, but I always, have butterflies in my stomach, like I've never
no
done
more.
it.
No more. You gotta
Yeah,
go.
let me
You
tell
don't
you.
have a
Let me
choice now. You've exposed yourself now. You're done.
Yes,
You gotta
yes.
keep
Drew,
going.
Drew couldn't have said it any better. You are an amazing talent.
Goodness sake.
You have no idea. One of the things that I do more
Really?
is probably produce shows. So your camera not working is driving me crazy right now. But I am so appreciative of you being here and being able to be blessed to hear your voice.
Thank you, Quentin.
And-
Quentin,
and-
I would like to read one poem which was inspired by Poe, if I may, if you have the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Please.
Yeah? I mean,
Yeah.
it had come up on my page quite a while back, but somehow it has always moved me, because Poe has been a sort of a poet who also used to write a bit, which has been derived from his dark side, because he lost his wife when she was very young, fell in love and married her at the age of 16, and the pain that came out of it. So here goes. It is a line drawn from one of his famous works, A Wind Blew Out of a Cloud by Night. Can I?
Yes.
They heard it all in the silent night as the air splintered with his piercing cry. That was Arthur's wretched, dolorous reply. Or was it his maniacal laughter wild, as in the full moonlight he bid his lady love goodbye? This was today, but yesterday told a different story, when both ran barefoot on dewy grass, love-struck and rolling on muddy paths, as angels wide-eyed gasped in awe at this delicious, luscious lovers who loved and swooned each day, each hour, round the clock. So winged spirits stopped for a visit to dwell on reasons they could not resist, and love it was they saw in their eyes, red hot ember that could thaw even ice, warmed their hearts to see such warmth, yet questions poured as to how and why. How did this twosome excel in style, affection afflicting the celestial kind? Jealousy sparked and mercury swelled, swooner than ever to quell their dote. So a wind blew over the cloud by night, gripping his love with a hateful chill of darkened, envious, celestial sin. She gallantly stood to fight it out, but how long could she hold them out? have her lover in desperation shout as he cursed and raved in blasphemy, excoriating God's angels unforgivingly. Their star-crossed fates balanced on the edge, driving fondness to totter and not to its fall, until the heavens finally unmasked, raining painful tears of penitence, watching her in weakness moan as her frail breath heaved to cease, and her head finally dipped into the comfort of his inconsolable arms. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, Jared, exactly what Lizard said. Um, your voice is very soothing,
Isn't it?
and Lizard just he's right. You an audio book by you, Jan, would be like. I mean, your voice is just amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I'm
Yeah,
truly
absolutely.
overwhelmed listening to you.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Jan, we're gonna do whatever we can to elevate you to that because whoosh,
I
you and
think
Barbara Schroeder.
Ralph's next venture is going to be a audio book.
Good.
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
definitely. Let's go, Drew.
Mm-hmm. Go, Drew.
I have a
Uh-oh.
question for Drew. Before you
Answer.
start.
We'll see.
Because, yeah, Drew's Guide to the Galaxy, right? My aliens would like to know: Have you finished your entry on Galeros there, so number 7?
I love it. I love it. I love the alien head, Steve. I love it. I love it. Uh, we're still working towards it. That's funny.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm so livid that I didn't think of doing Steve's Guide to the Galaxy. I am a massive Douglas Adams fan. How I didn't think of that when I thought of Thoughts by Steve, boring. So yeah,
no,
I get
I like Thoughts by Steve. Drew's Guide to the Galaxy started off as just like because my friends would be like, oh, what's Drew doing, or whatever, years ago, and then they would just they were asking me for advice, like whether it was like, should I go here, should I do that, is this girl right for me, is this boy right for me, or whatever, and I was like, oh, it's like Drew's Guide to the Galaxy, you never know what you're gonna get. So it was like, hey, I can't guarantee you the greatest advice, but I'm here for you. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, hey, I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just a traveler. You know what I mean? We're just traveling in the same realm, and I'm just here to help. So
Hey, Drew, I'm gonna tie you down before your poem.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
poem, I want to tie you down. One question.
Okay,
You may get in trouble for this.
okay.
The
We'll
most
see.
beautiful country you ever been to.
Um, that's an easy one, man. India, 100%. Easy one.
Woo!
Sundarha, Jai Hindi. Yeah. No, it really,
Listen to
yeah.
that.
No, I mean, obviously being Scottish, that's like a sin to say that anything's not as great as Scotland, right? Or the UK in general. It's just like, oh, come on, man, Glasgow's great. So it's like, my family's originally from Glasgow, but ever since I had a passion in, I grew up watching, you were talking, Quentin, about movies and films, and that's what I had growing up. I had the movies, I had the books, I had Alexander Dumas, I had the Three Musketeers, I had the Count of Monte Cristo. Those were what I had. I didn't have babysitters. So to watch these places, it's silly, like Indiana Jones, the things that I loved growing up, Temple of Doom. So a lot of the movies I loved were all places I really started to research and get into. So India is just one of those places that's so diverse. It has 7 states of just, North India, the middle, and then you have the bottom, the South where Jan is from, and the people, the culture, it's has something very special to it. It's hard to describe. The things that I find in other countries, and I say this to anybody, I love Egypt as well. I love the Middle East. I love Turkey, Jordan, these places. And anytime I find something that, like, the thing that I love about the rest of the world is always a piece that is like, reminds me of India, if that makes sense. So it's like, I could be somewhere and I'd be like, oh, this is cool, or I'm like, oh, the things I love about Egypt are the things that remind me of India, the people or the culture, when you really get down to the grassroots of it all, and like being around the tribe in a sense, tribally being a nomad and being involved in it. So,
well, they have another Indiana Jones about to come out.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because Temple of Doom, they shot that whole movie in Sri Lanka, right? I mean, but they used the backdrop from Rajasthan. There's a famous fort there called Amir Fort, where they show like the Bangkok Palace. That's based off of a famous Raj fort in Jaipur. So
wow,
nerd facts. Yeah.
But, I have a cousin.
Indiana Jones and the Jurassic World.
That's right. Didn't they film? They filmed that. They filmed that in the UK. Most of the scenes, I think. Yeah.
My cousin, he is a big Indiana Jones fan. I mean, he probably would marvel just to conversate with you, and just because you've seen it, and he would just go crazy talking to you. And he still says Harrison Ford. He always says that was Harrison Ford's best films. All that other stuff, that's not him. This Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I think Harrison Ford with Drew very soon.
What's that?
Someone will replace Harrison Ford with Drew.
No, my brother calls me Indiana Drew. He's like, what are you doing, man? He's like, what are you doing? It's like, why is there a monkey near you? Or I'm on like something, you see something. Like, I just got segue, but this last trip to India, I linked up and I got a bunch of tattoo work done when I was there as well. And I had people like, you would do that there? You know, all these things. I'm like, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, what's the problem? So it's one of those things. So they don't really know which way's up with me anymore. But yeah. But I'll read you guys a piece from the book. And I'll give a brief. It's called Shade, and it's about balance and life's journey, I guess. So this is in the company of poets, and it's called Shade. I found my Shangri-La amongst the living dead, where we drank from pools of bad blood and toasted to the years of servitude. Our bones war-torn with a pathetic excuse of how it's all our fault. When the wolves came for the last pieces of flesh, I didn't flinch. It was nothing new, just another vulture sweating at the beak to get its claws in me. I figured I would stop fighting back, my body too heavy with regret to lift me to my feet, but my heart still as light as it was when this all started. I fell, and the ground was the only thing that could catch me. The breath I took felt like it was my last, and when I looked up, I saw no one looking back. The fear nearly burnt a hole through me. I knew nobody was coming because nobody ever came back. I took refuge in the forbidden and held my hands out. The signal of sorrow was a welcome relief to those in the same manner. I wandered towards uncertainty, and though I thought I could battle it all, I knew the risk and held my ground, because something inside me knew one day I'd leave this place, and I would be there to catch you when you fall.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah, when I read that one in the book.
Beautiful. I love the way you ended it, My goodness.
Thank you. And I just want to give a shout out to you three. Reading your work was very, and then seeing you guys, like, it's such an honor for me as I don't have a lot of poetry on my page because I do this small, I'm all over the place with what I do. but you guys, hearing you guys' compliments and stuff is really, I can't even thank you guys enough how much it means to me to have your support. All three of you guys, it's really been something else. So
It's well deserved.
Likewise, Drew. Likewise.
Yeah, absolutely.
you guys, sorry,
I just like to say about his poetry is that after you read it, you think again, and then you read it again.
oh, wonderful.
And I thought, no, seriously, it makes there are questions within your poetry.
I really, I really appreciate that. I really have made I guess the style of writing I'm trying to do is where anyone can grab something from it. I try to make it multi-dimensional where it's not, that's just kind of what I'd really like to put that message out there. So to hear the feedback from you guys is super, super special. I mean, that's
new
so
book,
cool.
Indiana Drew, is coming up soon. Indiana Drew.
Right, and I was just gonna say that I do have one piece of feedback that I really need you to take to heart. I would like you to tell your brother that we love that he calls you Indiana Drew.
Yeah, he's always like, Indiana Drew, where are you at? I do. So I told Valerie, but I have a small travel business, so I'm able to take small group of people, very curated group. So I do like full interviews with the people before I take them somewhere. Because it'd be, to me, it's like I treat the people I take to these places as family, so I want to give them the experience to give back to these countries and these cultures that have given me so much is really cool. So that's part of the experience. So that's for the Indiana Drew. They're like, oh, Drew's doing that. Oh yeah, we'll go into that cave with him. He's fine. He knows the language. That's cool. So. I speak I've learned enough Hindi to get by, Thotable Hindi, Arabic, and Turkish. Those are the primary languages. So, but
I'm going to organize a group soon.
I'm bringing a group to you. I'm gonna go on the boats. Oh, by the way, if you guys, Kerala, where Jan is absolutely gorgeous. They have like houseboats on the river there and the wildlife is just insane. But yeah, I could go on, but the world is, but I really want to connect people with people. It's really important to me, and I'm able to do it. So it's like to me, it's to see, that service of like changing somebody's opinion about part of the world. I just brought people. I did a trip in Turkey and I brought everybody who had never been before. And from the Western, from the US, there's such a different viewpoint, obviously. So to bring people there and they'd be like, shit, man, this is actually really cool and really safe. I'm like, yes. I was like, you want a hard time? Let's go up to Skid Row in LA. I'll show you. I was like, there's no comparing, but, so yeah.
Cool. No matter where you go next time, no matter if it's Skid Row in LA or if it's in a cave in India,
you give back.
I really do. For my sake, I'll never know you did it until you tell me that you did it. But I really want you to play the theme song from Indiana Jones.
Oh God!
Wherever you go with your group, just do it once.
I found a filter on Instagram once, and I was doing a video, and it was the filter from the Mummy movie. And I let them, and it was like a backdrop of Egypt, and then I removed it, and I was like, "Oh wait, he's at the pyramid." Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, I'm here." I was like, "We're gonna go to the pyramid for Christmas. Let's go." So, yeah,
wow.
But
you're already getting entries, Drew. I can see Angel's son already telling, "I'm going to be part of your group soon too." So,
if you want, there's. Like I said, you make connections with people through communication. So I really think I teach the people, not teach, but I do I make videos with the language to try and help people when they travel somewhere, wherever it is, right? So it's really important. But thank you guys so much for allowing me to read a piece for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic.
The pleasure was ours.
Steve, don't be shy, Steve.
Oh no, I'm not shy. people who know me will say I am not. Absolutely.
Steve is so
My-
adventurous. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
talking about, he's like, oh my God, so diversified. I mean, he can write like a poem which you can read backward and forth, diagonally, this way and that. And I'm like, what? What the hell is he doing? You know? Fantastic, but Paul.
Now you've said that,
You
I'm
have.
gonna change up what I was gonna read. Okay. Uh, there was a challenge on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. It came out to write a poem which you read it top to bottom, or if you read it from bottom to top, you've got two different poems. So you've got to write the lines in a way that makes sense either way you read it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I like mathematics.
I love that.
And
That sounds
that kind of challenge, I thought I'm gonna have to go for that. And that's how my mind works. So I wrote two poems. For one poem is called SAD. SAD is the abbreviation for seasonal affective disorder. That's for when you don't get enough sunlight. So I'm going to read two poems because I read it. First of all, I read it from top to bottom, and then I read it from bottom to top. There we go. The night casts shadows in my endless nocturnal hallucinations. Monsters rule shady palaces where innocence hides within. Wherever there is darkness, gloom dances teasing rituals hidden from the light. It is deepening like cold in winter, freezing me inside. This is my sadness. This is my melancholy, a languishing lament that is my the funeral march for the ages. Let the music begin. Now, from bottom to top. Let the music begin. The funeral march for the ages, that is my hymn. A languishing lament. This is my melancholy. This is my sadness. Freezing me inside like cold in winter. It is deep. Hidden from the light, gloom dances teasing rituals. Wherever there is darkness, innocent hide within shady palaces where monsters rule. My endless nocturnal hallucinations cast shadows in the night.
Oh.
that's so cool.
That
So cool.
wordplay was
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
challenge for you from
And
the
that's
genius
Steve.
mathematician.
Wow.
Yeah, Drew said something earlier on. He said he's a kid at heart. I am a kid. I'm almost 58 now. I'm a kid at heart, still though. And something like this was a game for me.
It's
That
is
how can
that's
I
an
do this?
obscene challenge to take on. I'm like, I was after you just said I'm a kid at heart, it makes sense now. I was like, there's no way I could read a piece and then read it backwards and write it all that. I was like, that was so cool. It was very, very cool. That was beautiful. Oh man.
Has
Right.
Quentin written a piece? Has Quentin written a piece?
Oh no, I'm not a poet, Jan. I appreciate the kind words, but no, Jan, I would never give up my seat. I got the best seat of the house. Each week, I get to sit back and listen to all these poets.
But we'd love to hear you as well. I
Oh
think you're
no,
not.
I'm not a poet, Jan. And actually, Angel's son said that you were a hard teacher. You were strict.
I read
Oh
that.
my God. He
Yeah,
said that.
she said. Yeah, look, Jan. Look on the screen.
For my school poem competition, Jan was my teacher, a strict one though. but I'm
Oh, I-
beaming with pride now listening to her poems among other brilliant poets. Thank you, big sis.
Mm.
Oh,
Wow.
my. Thank you, son.
Such a nice
Angel,
talk.
Angel Sunji, what's up? Kesaho.
Ah,
It's so funny. No, you
you've
guys,
been
I
too.
mean, listening to you three, well, you guys are, I mean, Steve, come on, man. Come on. The
I know, right?
wordplay and the way that you're delivering, like Jan with, and then Valerie, it's like, y'all need to do an audio books. Get them out. Seriously.
I think
I'm actually,
sometimes,
Pardon me.
when you could, because of where I sit every week and be able to listen to all the poets, sometimes, and the reason why I asked Valerie that question is because I see the 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 artists on stage performing every week. So a person may just be like, "Oh, I'm just reading my poetry I wrote," and they may not appreciate what they're giving to the world, and
Hmm.
I'm able to appreciate it. I always try to encourage all the poets to, do voiceovers. You never know where your poetry can take you. It can take you places that your imagination probably can't even take you, because a lot of poets have moved on and did bigger things than just poetry. But poetry, if you ever notice where it may be an actor who used to be a poet, they always return back home to poetry.
Hmm.
They always come back to their base. So I always encourage everyone to continue writing,
Hmm.
continue doing, and now with so much technology going on in social media, you never know where your voice or your poem may be heard or read. So,
Exactly. Exactly. Mm.
so Valerie, we have any final thoughts from yourself and the rest of these amazing poets and now published authors? I didn't even ask you guys that. Is this everybody's first book?
Is,
I had,
is
I had
yeah.
2 poems in a book once,
Yeah, I
but
too had
you
this.
know, but that's it. Although I do have a book, hopefully coming out sometime this year. The
Well,
I have.
manuscript part is done. It's just all of the other things have to be taken care of.
Mhm.
I think
I had mine well combined along with Kim Brake, She too had come up with the object of my desire. So that
I,
was another. Yes.
And I think too, like one thing that I want to say is that um so I always talk about, especially the last few weeks, to talk about my 3 published books. Um so I have been in a few anthologies, and they have been um I- the word that comes to mind is dismal, but they haven't been an exciting experience, to the point where I actually own them. They're on my shelf, and other than to open up and see my page and be like woohoo, um, I don't even know the a lot of the other authors in it. There was not that camaraderie. There was not that the personal touch. There wasn't a good sampling of work for any of the poets. So, and I'm not saying that that's not out there. I'm just saying that wasn't my experience. So I wanted to do something different. I wanted it to be, for each and every poet in it, I wanted it to be a splash for them. I wanted them to be excited about it. I wanted them to, spend the time coming on shows with me by themselves, with, a mixture of the poets and the author, to celebrate this book and celebrate themselves and what they're doing. And so, that part's been a joy for me, that I could, my vision from the very beginning to now the end is what it's been. So, yeah.
Any final words, Jan and Drew?
Uh, I don't know how to close it. I'm bad at this. But this was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, I should say. All of you were incredible, to be on this platform for the first time for me. Like, in fact, even today when I was going to, I wish, of course, my video did show up. That's okay. That's hard luck, I guess. But I was feeling jittery all night, and I don't think I hardly slept. I was wondering what the hell is going to happen in the morning. I really don't know how I'm going to, whether I'm going to goof it up. But now it's given me a new sense of pride, a new sense of confidence, and there's always a first time, right? Thank you. I owe it to you, Val, Quentin, Drew, Steve. Thank you so much for being here. It has been wonderful knowing you more and more each time, you know. And
So-
Drew, I'm surely going to drop in UK, and you better organize a kind of a poetry session for poets over there. You've got the chance.
Chalo.
Cello, cello.
Um, I'm just honestly full of gratitude. I mean, it's I know that word we throw. I think poetry, and I say this is like words do have meaning, especially when they're spoken. It's like so being able to hear you guys read your work, and I know Steve's working on a manuscript, like you said, and Jan, and then knowing the other artists that are in it's so cool to be part of something like Valerie's saying with this anthology and getting to know you guys. And it's like, no, like I know you guys now from this little interview and us, conversating you as well, Quentin. And it's so special to me to be a part of it. And there's a lot of good, to me, it's like there's a lot of good energy in the group and the work that's coming out. I think everybody's really supporting one another. And that's so rare in any sort of artist community. I think, as we all know, especially I love music and, film and all these things. So you might see somebody doing something, but it's all about the community around them and helping the next person out. And Valerie's really given me, and I know the other, an opportunity to really express themselves in a big platform, so I'm super thankful. And just like I said, it's super exciting and look forward to sharing more and learning more about each and every one of you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on as
You're
well.
welcome. You're definitely welcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, it was great meeting Dan and Drew. I've been on live with Valerie before, so that was great. But also, Valerie keeps talking about these great poets and everything, and she doesn't ever talk enough about her own poetry. So I just wanted to highlight that. So do go and read her poetry, because you will be enthralled by what she writes. I just wanted to get that across, but I don't think she emphasizes her own work. And just, I hope that people, get to see that there is a connection, despite the fact that we all write in different ways, we all have different messages to give. But it really has been, that feeling of being in the company of poetry.
Mm-hmm.
We had a chat about and discussion about the name of the book. We've had, it hasn't just been we sent in our poems to Valerie, and she involved us a lot in the process, which was great, a great experience for all of us. So we've connected through the chat that we've had, and I think that is some very important part of the process. In fact, and you can tell that by the fact that we're all going out there and talking about the book and sharing our experiences. The fact that we've got four of us to stay on screen together. So that this is really, there's a community within the group. That's important.
Thank you for that. You know what? I remember putting out the title of the book and some suggestions. Like, what do you think about this title? I gave a few suggestions. And the minute I hit send, I thought, what are you doing, Valerie? You're asking 11 people for their opinion. Like, this is going to be a revolving door. But I wanted that sense of you guys have a say in this, because like we are that community in this book, and like In the Company of Poets just fits. There was a few other possible names, and they weren't bad names by any means, but this group, In the Company, we are really enjoying each other's company, and we have come out to celebrate the book in different communities, sometimes alone, but even when we are alone on screen, everybody who's available is coming into the room to support. So, you know, we definitely are a company of poets, but we also exude that, you know, we are your company.
And not taking it as a competition,
Yeah, no.
more of a collaboration, and that is sometimes hard to do because, as they say, everybody has a competitive spirit. However, it's like as we would say, Val, iron sharpens iron. Like, yo, I want you to do
Yeah.
great, and then I can imagine reading. You know where your portion is at in the book, and you're like, no, I ain't gonna read that. And then you read somebody else's, and you're like, wow, I can't stop reading other people's poems. And then you're like, you get so caught up, and you wind up promoting. Yeah, you're in the book, but you're like, yo, you should read this person's poems because this is where I identified with, and I think it's really unique. Val, you kept it kind of quiet. Usually, you'd be like, oh, I'm working on something. I know that the last 3 months you had actually been planning this show for a while, but you didn't say when and what it was going to be about. And Val, I really appreciate all that you do for the poetry community, and
Thank you.
being able to get everybody on the same page. It is definitely, like I said, being able to get poets not one time, but we're talking about 2-3 times a week on shows. That is not easy to do. Everybody's schedules conflict, time zones, countries, and to be able to pull it off and try to do it smooth and then promote the shows with that is time consuming, because we're hard headed sometimes and we don't follow rules. So I really appreciate all the work you've done and continue to do, and you know uh, I'm glad that you're able to see, like, I really did something with this book. Like, I got 11 other poets for us to collaborate on something special. And I hope that everybody who has the opportunity really appreciates what you've done. So
It's more important to me that they enjoyed the process and the outcome. But I feel you and I feel your statement. But yeah, I mean, for me, I am highly competitive, but I have the philosophy that we're all meant to cross the finish line. And so, I'm going to bring you with me. If you get in my way, though, watch out because I will hip check you. And I carry some weight around my hips. I can really bump you out of the way.
See, Val,
Nobody's gonna slow me down.
now you're showing off your hockey spirit.
Yeah, right.
Now we've never talked about you in hockey,
No.
so I'm quite sure.
I don't play hockey, but my son was a very high level goalie, and so I was a hockey mom. So,
Okay.
and I was the mom who got the dirty looks because when they started hitting in junior, I would cheer, and I'm like, "What? It's a legal hit! Like it's exciting." And now if I'm
Hockey
cheering 'cause
mom.
it's not a legal hit, then you can give me the dirty look. But
Hey,
come on, what are we
went
here
to
for?
watch. I went to watch Finland against Sweden ice hockey. It was a junior match,
Mm-hmm.
and the parents, they didn't care about the score. They just wanted to see how much players from the other country they took up.
All right. Well, all I have
Finland
to
and
say,
Sweden have a history, so.
yeah.
And I'm
All I
telling
have
you,
to say
it was
about
atmosphere was
junior
crazy.
hockey. Junior hockey is so intense because they have something to prove, right? If they want to move on, they have something to prove. They got it. They got to go out there every single time and show up and show out. Whereas, when you get to the level above that, they already made it. So sometimes they forget to show up and show out. They're just out there doing their job. So junior hockey's got a little something extra up their sleeves for us.
I will tell you, I went to a hockey about 30 years ago, my first time going to a professional hockey event, and I actually the playoffs, and I could
Wow.
not believe the nonstop action.
I
TV
know.
does not give it justice, I
Nope.
swear.
It's an exciting game. It's an exciting
And
game.
I was so upset because I'm like, wow, TV can't explain what's really going on with the changing of the ice, and I mean the changing of the
Exactly.
lines and all this stuff going on, and really interesting thing. Really, really, this is when Eric Lindros was at the height of his career, actually.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, Lizard. It was a Rangers match, Lizard. Actually, it was the Rangers. Rangers were playing the Flyers. Okay, Val, you're gonna close us out with a poem.
I am. This is a fairly new piece of mine. It's not in the book. It may make it to another book one day, but right now it's just a piece. This is called 5 a.m. It's 5 a.m. Another disjointed sleep. The hypermobility of my mind, a whirlpool. A conversion at brackish waters. The smile runs from my eyes. Another sunrise, silently weeping. Gut wrench, twisting and turning. Heartache, acidic. Rising reflux. Oh, the ache. The regret. The unforgiven. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Love is not a buck blade, nay, a brazen thief. Mistakes are not meant to bring you to your knees and have you beg for the impossibility of winding the hands of time back. Back to when? Which time is it when you could fix it by not doing it again? Not life. You wouldn't take it away. You wouldn't beg it to end. But somehow, if it happened, you feel the slow of the beat would be a welcome event. Each silent moment between the beats until it just stopped. Who could say which event triggered the next? Who could say how far back you would have to go? Who could pinpoint the greatest treasure, the truest hopeful sunrise on the horizon, where promise of a better future rises between far-off mountains over the calm glass-top ocean? A still moment when the breeze whispers, right now, this is it. And instead of walking into the arms of love, you twist your heels, turn your back, and let the wind guide you to a better future. Take me right there. Take me now from this 5 a.m. dim porch morning where the crows speak over the breeze hanging nearest my ear, quietly quoting Poe. Nevermore. Valerie Levine.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful.
With that, appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody in their comments. Comments were beautiful. Comments, you guys definitely gave the poets their flowers. And appreciate you poets for joining us tonight. Try to stay in the chat, and we'll just have a quick session afterwards. And remember to look up these great poets. We're gonna have Jan on again so people can see what the voice looks like. We'll figure something out. I'm quite sure we're not gonna hear the end of her.
No,
so appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Quentin. And everybody out there, it was beautiful to hear you. So your comments and your support. So please do like and subscribe to this page and hit the notification bell so that if any of us come back, you'll get to see us. But Quentin has a whole bunch of wonderful shows that you're not going to want to miss. Yeah, and everybody on screen, don't leave the room. After the credits roll, we're going to chat for a minute.
Quentin, I thank you so much for this. I truly appreciate your time. And well, you're finally given us what we wanted to be. I think I can call myself a published poet now proudly.
With that, everybody take care and have a great night and day.
All of our team members out here, there are so many of them, the rest of them, 8 of them there.